Well, I promised you a recipe at the end of all this, and then I thought, what the hell? Today I'm going to show you 3 very different fish cooked in 3 different ways, and just for fun we're going to cook them all together at the same time, just to show you how absolutely totally easy it is to cook lots of different things together at the same time, fresh to order for your guests. Now these are some of the simplest and most classic recipes you'll ever see. And the whole thing about seafood is, if you buy quality, if you buy the very best you can get, you can cook it simply. Indeed, it's better to cook it simply. Just let the flavours of the wonderful produce shine through and speak for themselves. Well, there's no need to panic about things like this. The kitchen is your domain. It's your own little kingdom. And it should be a place you can go to relax and feel comfortable. And if you have to run around panicking and shouting and swearing, then you're not in control, really, either of the kitchen or yourself. Now, the fish I'm going to cook for you today are, first of all, a pan-seared Mediterranean sea bass, then braised monkfish tail in a light soy and Pernod cream reduction or creme. And we're also going to see a pan-seared Mediterranean tuna steak. The equipment you're going to need for this is, for the sea bass, a pan with a lid, cast iron pan if possible, and 1 spatula. For the monkfish, a pan with a lid, 1 spatula and 1 plastic or wooden spoon. And for the tuna steak, you simply need 1 searing pan and a spatula. The ingredients you're going to need are, for the sea bass, a little extra virgin olive oil and some cracked black peppercorns. For the monkfish, you're going to need some garlic butter, or some butter with slices of fresh garlic in if you prefer, some extra virgin olive oil, some light soy sauce, some Pernod, half a pint of water, and again a little cracked black peppercorns. Now, for the tuna steak, all you're going to need is some extra virgin olive oil and a little cracked black peppercorns and thyme, either fresh or dried, doesn't really matter. Now we're going to start with the sea bass because that's the longer cooking time. So for this, simply grease a cast iron pan as you would a baking tray with a little extra virgin olive oil. This is a dry cooking method, basically because sea bass is a very wet fish. Its flesh has a very wet texture. And the mistake most people seem to make, if they make one in this country, is they cook it wet. It's either poached or sauteed, or it's served in a wet sauce, and this really doesn't help the texture of the fish. So simply work some extra virgin olive oil round the pan and wipe away any excess. Pan goes on the heat, and just sprinkle in some cracked black peppercorns. That may look like quite a lot, but not all of it ends up on the fish. And now I'm going to stuff the belly of the sea bass with a single clove of fresh garlic. You can use anything, you could use herbs, an old shoe, that's just a little joke. Place the sea bass in the pan, scatter a little more cracked black peppercorn over the top, and simply cover it with a lid. For the monkfish, simply a small knob of butter into the pan. Follow this with just a little splash of extra virgin olive oil. The reason we use olive oil and butter together when we're cooking like this is simply that the olive oil helps the butter not to burn. When you're cooking at a high heat, the butter can easily burn, and you'll get a nasty brown colour and a kind of burned flavour to the sauce, which obviously you don't want. Now once that's covering the bottom of the pan, sizzling, little spot of cracked black peppercorns, and simply place the fish in the pan. Thank you, Jim. Taking away my old dirty things. Once this has been in the pan and sizzling for maybe 30 seconds, we'll simply flip it over, brown the other side, and add the liquid. This is braising. There seems to be a lot of confusion these days in this country about what braising actually is. Braising is simply searing or browning something in a pan and then poaching. That's not sauteing, it's not anything else, that's braising. So, about 30 seconds, simply flip the fish over. Now's the time to add the soy and the Pernod. No need to be particularly accurate about this. A splash of soy, a splash of Pernod. And then half a pint of water. Simply cover it with a lid, and then halfway through that cooking process we'll simply flip it over again, let the liquid more or less dry out, and it'll be done. Now for the tuna. The searing pan goes on the heat and we wait until it's just beginning to smoke. Which it's just starting to do now, so we put in the seasoning, which again, cracked black peppercorn, a little bit of thyme, either fresh or dry. I find with this particular dish, if it's fresh, it tends to stick in your teeth. And then simply place the fish on the bed of the pan. Now, you'll notice at this point quite a lot of smoke building up underneath the lid of the sea bass pan. That's your signal that it probably needs turned.